Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. You can see that I'm in my cougar chair because after all this sedentary sitting around, I've really needed to look after my posture. But today is the last video for 2020, and I'm so glad that we are actually saying good riddance to 2020. And I hope that in 2021, there is going to be a lot more health around the world, good health and positivity. So today I'm going to be sharing some ideas on well-being and all the different concepts related to well-being, and hoping that we'll be able to focus on that for 2021. If you're interested in listening to my thoughts about well-being, then please keep on watching. So 2020 has been challenging on so many levels for every single person around the world. For me, it was the first Christmas that we spent without our sons in 20 years, in fact, but I know that I'm not alone and that there were many families that were not able to reunite. Even the Queen said herself she was self-isolating with her husband and they didn't get together. And so during this year, I think we've experienced great loss, great sadness, and I'm hoping that 2021 is going to be much better for the world overall. I think one of the most important concepts that we need to be considering is our well-being. And there is no one agreement on what constitutes well-being, but I've looked at a few different sources and I've looked at one specifically from the CDC, and I really like how they outline different concepts related to well-being. So they outline about 9 or 10 of them, but I'm just going to highlight some of them and help to remind us and be mindful of really trying to look after our well-being on all the different levels that I'm going to be talking about. So the first one obviously is going to be physical well-being, and physical well-being is something that really contributes, I think, to our mental health. And it's really important that we take time out, even just to have a stretch. If we're in lockdown and we're not able to go out or leave the house, then just a little stretch, put on something on YouTube and do some yoga or just move in any way. And I know that that's going to contribute to our mental well-being as well. Now, another concept that the CDC talks about in terms of well-being is social well-being. And many of us have been quite isolated, I know, during the year of 2020. And there are ways, I think, that we can look after our social well-being. Many of us have connected through social media, which has been wonderful. And this is the most sharing I've ever experienced in my entire life, of educators getting together and just sharing advice and experience and resources. And so I hope that we continue to look after our social well-being by connecting, by sharing, and also making sure that our students are looked after in terms of their social well-being. So if we are asking them to attend a lesson online, that they have some time and space to be able to connect with their peers and just to play some games and get to know each other. Now, another really important aspect of well-being, of course, is emotional well-being. And that's something that I think that we really need to concentrate on, the emotional well-being of our students, of our teachers, and of society overall. So I think emotional well-being really needs to be at the forefront of everybody's minds when it comes to starting the year in 2021. So the CDC also talks about life satisfaction. And I think a really good exercise that I sometimes do is I draw just a line on a A4 piece of paper, and then I highlight some of the major events that I've had in my life that have really made an impression and made me into the person that I am. And so I kind of do this reflection once every so often, probably once every few years, on the major events of my life, and think about, what kind of goals or what do I want to develop or how I want to grow in the future. And that relates to another concept that the CDC talks about in terms of well-being, and that's development and activity. So I think it's important that we grow as people, as human beings, and it can be growing in different aspects, whether it's personal or whether it's professional as well. And so looking back, I think at your life and reflecting and then setting goals for the future, like a vision board, I think can be a really positive experience. Now, the CDC also talks about engaging activities and work. And so I think it's important that we find meaning in our lives and purpose. And a lot of the time for me, that means if I can contribute in some way to society or contributing to learners, educators, my students in some way so that there is a positive effect on society ultimately. And I think if we think about engaging activities and work, this can be more satisfying and it can also contribute to our well-being. Now, I've just outlined some of the concepts of well-being, but my message I think today is to try and encourage everyone to really think about their well-being for 2021. Just when we thought that things were getting better, the last couple of weeks have delivered, I think devastating news around the world in so many different levels. And so let's, for 2021, no matter what happens, let's try and focus on our well-being and look after ourselves and look after each other. So I wish everyone a safe and happy new year. And I really hope that the new year 2021 brings a lot more calm and a lot more health to everybody across the world. Take care, everyone, and see you in the new year. Bye.